What made you go on your villain arc? My brother Nathan was only 12 when Jackson Doyle decided to make him a target. I never planned to destroy an entire family, but sometimes protecting someone you love leads you down paths you never thought you'd travel. 3 years later, I still wake up wondering if I went too far, even as I watch Nathan sleep peacefully in the bedroom across from mine. The same Nathan who once cried himself to sleep every night, terrified of the next school day. It began with small things that first semester of 7th grade, Nathan coming home with his backpack soaking wet or finding his gym clothes stuffed in toilet bowls. I was 17 then, a high school senior focused on hockey scholarships and graduation. I noticed Nathan growing quieter, but attributed it to normal teenage moodiness rather than systematic torment. My first real clue came when I found him struggling to bandage cuts on his forearms one evening when our parents were at their monthly neighborhood association meeting. What happened? I asked from his doorway, making him jump and quickly pull down his sleeves. The panic in his eyes told me this wasn't just a skateboarding accident or playground mishap. Nothing, he mumbled, avoiding eye contact. I fell during gym. I crossed the room and gently pushed up his sleeve, revealing several angry red scratches that looked suspiciously like fingernail marks. That doesn't look like falling to me, Nate. Who did this to you? His eyes filled with tears that he furiously tried to blink away. It doesn't matter. Telling only makes it worse. That's what everyone says. That night, I got the whole story. How Jackson Doyle, an 8th grader built like a high school sophomore, had been systematically terrorizing Nathan for weeks. It started with shoves in the hallway, escalated to tripping him in the cafeteria, and had recently become physical attacks in the locker room where teacher supervision was minimal. Nathan showed me bruises on his ribs and back from being slammed into lockers, each one making my blood boil hotter. Have you told Mom and Dad? I asked, already knowing the answer from their oblivious behavior at dinner. Nathan shook his head. Dad will just say I need to stand up for myself. Mom will freak out and make everything worse by calling the school. He wasn't wrong. Our father, Kevin Reynolds, was a former military man who believed that life's problems should be handled head-on with confidence he had never bothered to help Nathan develop. Our mother, Elaine, meant well, but had a tendency to escalate situations with her emotional reactions. Neither approach would help Nathan navigate the complex social warfare of middle school. I'll handle it, I promised, pulling him into a hug. You're not alone in this anymore. The next morning, I drove Nathan to school instead of letting him take the bus where Jackson had free reign. I walked him all the way to his first class, ignoring the embarrassed looks he shot me. In the hallway, I spotted Jackson immediately. He stood out not just because of his size, but because of the way smaller kids instinctively created space around him as they passed, like prey animals sensing a predator. I approached him directly, maintaining my senior year confidence despite the fact that this 13-year-old was already nearly my height. Jackson, I said quietly, backing him toward the lockers. I'm Nathan Reynolds' brother. If you touch him again, we're going to have a serious problem. Jackson's face registered surprise, then contempt. Your brother's a whiny little bitch who can't fight his own battles, he sneered. What are you gonna do about it? Beat up a middle schooler? You'll get arrested. He was right, of course. At 17, almost 18, I couldn't lay hands on him without serious legal consequences. But the smirk on his face as he pushed past me solidified my resolve to find another way to protect Nathan. For a few days, my presence at drop-off and pickup seemed to deter Jackson. Nathan reported a blessed week of being left alone. I started to hope the simple threat had been enough. Then came the Wednesday that changed everything. The day Jackson decided to prove he wasn't intimidated. I was at hockey practice when my phone lit up with texts from Nathan. The sequence still burns in my memory. Jackson followed me after school. He has my backpack. He's throwing my stuff everywhere. Help. By the time I arrived at the middle school 20 minutes later, an ambulance was parked in the bus loop, its lights flashing silently. Cold fear gripped my chest as I sprinted toward the gathering crowd, pushing through curious onlookers until I spotted Nathan sitting on a bench, holding an ice pack to his face. His right eye was swollen completely shut, blood caked around his nostrils and staining his favorite blue shirt. A teacher I didn't recognize was sitting beside him, looking simultaneously concerned and overwhelmed. What happened? I demanded, kneeling in front of Nathan. The teacher answered for him. There was an incident on the practice field. Nathan was hit in the face with a football. The paramedics are checking him for a concussion and possible orbital fracture. A football doesn't do this, I said, gesturing to Nathan's injuries. This was deliberate. We didn't see exactly what happened, the teacher said carefully. Several students were involved in a rough game that got out of hand. Nathan removed the ice pack, wincing. Jackson said he wanted to play catch. Then he threw the ball straight at my face from like 5 feet away, as hard as he could, on purpose. His voice broke. He was laughing when I fell down. The paramedics insisted on taking Nathan to the hospital, where we learned he had narrowly escaped a detached retina. The doctor said another centimeter to the left, and he might have lost vision in that eye permanently. To see how I got revenge, watch the full story on my channel or linked below.